college and our two colleges and the Board of Regents to finish today. We'll start out with the independent colleges. I don't think there was. Anybody have anything on their list for the independents? No. Pat, do you have anything? No. Okay. Well, then, one of you want to make a motion for the private colleges? Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we concur with the, would be special committee, that's what, yeah, special committee on the FY 2026-2027 budget.
Right, and that's for the independent colleges.
Yes, for the independent colleges, yes.
Motion second by Senator Alley. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Next, we will have Washburn University. And I had nothing on Washburn on my list. Anybody have anything on Washburn? They didn't ask for anything other than what they already had, so there was no enhancements. So Senator Alley, Fagg first.
That's close. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move we concur with the Higher Education Subcommittee on Washburn University for their FY 2026 and 2027 budget.
Second by Senator Alley. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We'll move on to Board of Regents. And I just had notes on their enhancement request. Anybody have anything besides those? Well, there were three enhancements that Board of Regents had requested. One for Wichita State for $5 million, one from KU for $5 million, and one from Kansas State University for $5 million. And I did talk to some folks from Wichita State, and after visiting with them, they said that if we did the sunset on the $7 million, that they would not request the $5 million. Wouldn't need the 5, just as long as we did the 7, which is what Senator Alley did that with the motion last week. So,
By removing sunset.
right, yeah. Senator Petty.
So, Mr. Chairman, I do know that one thing that was part of, I believe, the Regent's budget was the funding for the Blueprint for Literacy. And that is at $8.6 million. Well, in the governor's budget, she requested $8.6 million. The Board of Regency had $5.5 million for the Blueprint for Literacy. If you recall, this legislature passed legislation for the Senate Bill 438, and that was to, provide training not only at the K-12 level, but at the secondary level concerning letters and the structure of literacy training at our universities. So this I'll just say this 5.5 needs to be put in so that they can continue to work with the seven of our regents have already put in programs, but this is to help continue that training that is so necessary. to follow through with the legislation that we as a legislature passed in 438.
Yes, I might point out that on page 628, there are quite a number of programs under the reappropriations. And Blueprint to Literacy was one of those. Committee, I would point out that these are all out, and we would need to put them back in order to have these programs. There's the Promise Scholarship 8.2, the Blueprint for Literacy 5.5. Well, it's here, but you said 5.
Well, the 5.5 is new money. What you're looking at is the reappropriation. This money, for the most part, has already been spent. So if we're talking about two different things.
Okay, so you're talking about the reappropriations, but you're talking about for next year putting 5.5 additional, or are you talking just 5.5?
No. 6.2 is already, for the most part, been spent. This is, as you can see, to operate the program in 2026, and the 5.5 is in 2027.
Right, so but you're wanting to add to the 6.2, correct, or not?
So I don't want us confused between reappropriation and
Right.
2027. So if you want to just talk about the reappropriation, I'll.
Okay, we'll just talk about the reappropriations, and your 5.5, we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Okay, also there was military service scholarships, 2 million, Heroes Act scholarships, 1.9 million, Kansas Educational Opportunity Scholarships, 1.8, Osteopath Service Scholarship, 1.8, National Guard Education Assistance, 1.3, Nursing Student Scholarships, 880,400, Emerge Program Assistance, 879,080, Nurses Educator Grant, 566,407, State Scholarship Program, 522,818, Tuition for Technical Education, 358,839, Comprehensive Grants, 170,911, Career Tech Workforce Grant, 24,617, Teacher Scholarship Program, 14,948, Governor Scholarship Program, 11,675, Nursing Facility and Supplies Grant, 9,775. Senator Routley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I read this correctly, it says the agency reappropriated 26.7, that's the total that you have there, in unspent SGF from 25 to 26. So this money that you just read were unspent in 25, and we're wanting to move that to 26. Is that correct?
Yes. Is the money automatically in there? I mean, we put this reappropriation in there. The money is already allocated next year. For these programs, so we have to try to put them back in.
The money's like the 27 appropriation, yes, that's already.
It's already in there,
This is
right?
just restoring.
Right. So this is just restoring what was taken for the reappropriations, but the funding for 27 is in there,
With the exception of Blueprint for Literacy.
with the exceptions for the blueprint for literacy.
27.
For 27 is not in there, and that's what Senator Petty was talking about, so. Senator Alley.
I make a motion that we reinstate the reappropriations for 25 into 26 for a total of 26.7.
Motion second by Senator Fagg. Any other discussion on those? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Excuse me one second. So Dayton, the only one we need to worry about is. Okay, so everything is now covered in 27 except the blueprint for literacy, so we'll discuss that. Dayton, is there any money in there? Is the,
Mr. Chair, for 2027, the blueprint for literacy has $0. That 5.5 million requested, that would be the only money for blueprint in 27. So they have $0 right now.
okay, thank you. Why is that not an ongoing?
I don't think I could tell you, but I know 10 million was appropriated a few years ago, and then last year, no additional money was appropriated. So they've been spending down that 10 million. So they've requested for the money the past several years. It just wasn't added last year. So if you all were to make it ongoing, that would be up to your will.
Okay, so it's just a one-time year-to-year is what it is. And last year it was not funded, and this year you're asking for 5.5?
Mr. Chair, yes, that's correct.
Okay. Discussion on the center alley.
Again, Mr. Chair, my understanding, if I read this again, it says that this funding is to be used for in-service teachers taking graduate level courses to earn literacy credentials. How many teachers are we educating with this?
Dayton, can you tell us?
Mr. Chair, I can't. I do know there's a representative from the Board of Regents that might be able to, Kelly Oliver.
Please come up and state your name, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kelly Oliver with the Board of Regents Office. Yes, the Blueprint for Literacy funding will train in-service teachers. Currently, there's about 18,000 teachers that need retraining with structured literacy. And between the funding that would go to our office to help teach those graduate level courses and funding that the State Department of Education has for letters training, we hope to then cover and fund all of the training for teachers over the next few years.
So do you have, now that we put the reappropriations back in, you'll have the 6.2 and you're asking for an additional 5.5 on the 6.2, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chair. So the 6.2 is planned to be spent in the current year with maybe a little bit that we would reappropriate into the next year to fund this training. But we would need additional funding in the out year in fiscal year 27 to continue that training for teachers. We plan to train about 2,000 teachers each year, and it's a partnership both with our public universities, and we also have private universities that are teaching this training as well.
Are you anticipating more teachers? Is that why you need additional funding? I mean, the 6.2 is not sufficient?
That's correct. We would spend most of that funding in the current year and wouldn't have additional funding in the out year. So we would need the additional 5.5 for the out year.
So this is to continue it for one more
Correct.
year?
That's to continue it.
Okay. Other questions? Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How do you measure the success of this? You know, you've kind of gone into this. How do you measure that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, Senator, this is a brand-new program over the last couple years that we are just now implementing this training with our teachers. We have found with our teachers that have taken the training starting this last summer that they're already able to implement their training in their classrooms. Part of what we do with the program is we will be reporting on assessment data on literacy or ELA with our K-12 partners that are taking those assessments. Hopefully, the plan is that this training will impact the teacher in which they'll be able to more successfully train or teach our students how to read. And we would have improved literacy scores.
Senator Fagg.
Do you have any out-of-state people that are taking this program?
We do not, no.
So it's
These are
in-
all
it's all
Kansas.
in-state?
Yes, these are all Kansas teachers.
Okay, all right.
Other questions? Senator Petty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Kelly, hasn't the 6.2, that's pretty much been expended already, hasn't it?
Yes, thank you, Senator. Yes, in the current year, we have spent the majority of that funds or are planning to by the time the end of the fiscal year arrives.
Right. And so I know that we're talking about 5.5, even though 8.6 is what was being asked for through the Blueprint for Literacy. The 5.5 is what is the, okay, what is the can you be specific about what the 5.5 will cover as what it won't cover as well?
Yes, the 5.5 million will continue to fund the training for teachers. So we will continue to fund training for elementary teachers. The additional money, the 8.6 million that the governor has added in, that came from the Literacy Advisory Committee. That is a group formed based out of this legislation. And that committee has also recommended literacy coaching. And so what that would do would be provide additional support for teachers, primarily in districts that are less than 500 kids. Right now, KSDE is helping to train additional literacy coaches in districts with more than 500.
Thank you. And also, was part of that too to begin once at the elementary level that training has been completed through letters, then would begin at the secondary level? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So right now we are focused primarily on elementary teachers, current elementary teachers, but this would help us to expand to also allow secondary teachers to take the training.
Thank you.
Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do see in here, it says that this funding will be used for in-service teachers. Is that during the school year?
In-service teachers are teachers that are currently practicing in the field. So the courses are taught throughout the year, actually. There's courses in the summer and in the fall and spring semesters as well. What we would call pre-service teachers would be teachers that are in school right now and haven't received their bachelor's degree. And we've worked to create courses for them as well. But in-service teachers would be teachers that are currently practicing. Yes.
So when do you give this training? Do you give this training during school year?
It can be in the school year. The universities have also offered this training during the summer as well for teachers if they don't want to take it during the school year.
Thank you.
So how long is the course?
I think it varies from university to university and how they have set it up. I think there typically are 8-week courses, and there's 2 courses, so it's 16 weeks if they are set up in 8-week courses. They would receive 6 hours of graduate credit as well for taking the course.
To get some type of certificate?
They do, yes. And so this fulfills the requirement that the Board of Education has for the Seal of Literacy, which teachers will be required to have if they are getting ready to renew their license after 2030. And by completing this course or set of courses, they'll have that seal.
So this has been going on 2 years now?
This is actually, the current year we're in is the first year of actual training.
Okay.
Last year, they spent time creating this training last year, but this summer and actually last spring, we had a pilot course.
And you said how many teachers are currently in the system?
We can fund up to about, or train up to about 2,000 per year.
2,000 a year, okay. And how many are total, do you think? I mean, this will need to be going for several years. How many years do you suppose this will take?
Correct. So there are 18,000 elementary educators in the state of Kansas, approximately. I don't have my numbers in front of me, but between the training that the universities are providing and the letters training by KSDE, we will be able to fully train all of those teachers by 2030.
By 2030? Other questions? Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The students we have in school today, are they being trained on this?
Yes, so structured literacy is a form, well, and I'm not an expert on literacy, but I will try my best to explain. Structured literacy is a way in which we teach reading. This practice has been around for several years. However, what this training will do will help teachers to be able to actually implement it into their classroom better. So it will provide them with support of how to actually go about teaching reading to their students.
Other questions? I might ask you, so new students that are going through the universities to be teachers, are they getting this?
Yes, they are. Yes.
So, good.
I'm sorry, was that your question, Senator Fagg? I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about students in K-12. Yes.
Senator Petty.
So Kelly, haven't all of our regions transitioned their programs to be teaching this program within their education curriculum?
Yes, Senator. So what they have done over this last year is while that training was already occurring throughout the curriculum, they have created 2 specific courses that are just with structured literacy and teaching that.
And I will add that as of August of 20, well, there have been is this correct? As of August of 24, there were a total of 1,834 that have completed the letters program.
Senator, I'm sorry, I would have to get back to you on that. I don't have that figure in front of me.
I'm looking at it, so.
All right, okay, so you're probably correct.
And that, as you mentioned, the plan is with the funding to be able to, the benchmark for 26 is to have 11,740 trained, and then by 29, as you mentioned, the over 18,000, so that would be trained system-wide through K-12.
Yes, Senator, that is correct.
Thank you.
Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we take the teachers that are in today, and you're going to have some that's going to retire in that group. Do you guys analyze that? Do you say we got 18,000 today? I'm just wondering how you arrive at that 5.5 and what's magical about that. You know, why isn't it 3 million? Why isn't it 7 million? You allow for retired teachers. Just wondering how you're coming up with this number.
Yes, thank you, Senator. The funding for the 5.5 million will help to cover the cost of the courses so that there's no cost to the teachers who are actually taking those courses. And it's estimated based on the cost of the course plus to cover that for the teacher, the estimated number of teachers that we can train in the given year.
Senator Fagg.
Oh, you have teachers that got to have continuing education, and they go out and pay for their own, is my understanding. You know, not outside this program. Why wouldn't that be in that type of thing there to keep their teaching license?
Senator, with Senate Bill 438, it was a requirement that we create training for teachers that was at low or no cost for teachers to be able to take training. So between letters and this training that we're providing, we would be able to provide training to teachers at no cost to them. The State Board of Education has also approved a couple other ways in which teachers could obtain their seal of literacy. One of those is taking a test, and that would be on the teacher to pay for that test in order to gain the seal of literacy.
Senator Fagg.
So the teachers that have to do the continuing ed, does this count towards that for their certification?
I'm sorry, Senator Fagg, I don't know that answer to that question. I would have to check with the Department of Education on that. I'm not sure how that works in their area.
Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I go back to the in-service. I know when I was on the school board, we had in-service days on Friday. Is this when this is taught?
No, Senator, this is a separate course that is taught by our universities, and so teachers would have to enroll in the course, much like if you wanted to take some type of course through a university. And those courses would either be taught online or sometimes in person, and typically in the evenings, or I don't know all the different types of how we have it set up. I think there might be some that are taught also on the weekend if it's in person.
Is there any of this, if I do the math, it's about $3,100 per teacher. And that's what your course costs. Is that what I'm hearing?
Senator, thank you. It's actually, let me do the math here. It is it's $1,800 per teacher. There is also a stipend that the teacher can receive if they complete the course. That's a help to just as kind of a somewhat of a reward for them to have to go back and take this training at this point, since they're required to obtain the seal of literacy. There's also some funds in there that will help to train paraeducators in this realm as well, because as you may know, paraeducators are oftentimes working with students that are maybe struggling to read. So there's funding for those as well.
I guess my math isn't working well, but if you got 2,000 teachers at $1,800 is not $8 million. You wanted $5 million.
Correct. That's correct. So part of it is also for the stipend. Part of it is also for paraeducator education. There is also a small amount of administration for that as well.
Any other questions, Senator Petty?
I have a breakdown here if you're interested, because you were looking at just for the 1,800. So you do have faculty development, so there's a $12,000 for that. You do have the training, as she mentioned, as Kelly mentioned, for the paraprofessionals that are, and that's 263,000. The stipends for the paraprofessionals, that's 87,000. The enhanced literacy clinician certification, it's 138,000. The literacy micro credential for ESOL, it's 98,000. The mentor field supervision certification, that's 50,000. The foundation graduate tuition is 306 million, and the foundation stipend is 1 million. That's just the 5.1 million. That doesn't, as I talked about, the 8.6, that does not include any coaching, as Kelly mentioned, for schools that are 500 or less, training for coaches. It also does not include expanding onto high school. So this would be no inclusion for the high school teachers.
You mind sharing that? Senator Fagg.
The word stipend caught my ear there. So my question, I guess, we're paying for this course, and if it's continuing education, on other ones, I don't think we pay a stipend for that. I don't know. I just kind of question why we would be paying a stipend for this if we're paying for their education to keep their certificate. So just a thought.
Senator, I think it was a way to incentivize teachers to take this training as it is a requirement for them to obtain a seal of literacy. They do have to take other continuing education, I'm aware of, to keep their license, but this is a requirement that they obtain the seal of literacy.
Senator Fagg? Senator Petty?
So Kelly, just to follow up on that, it's a requirement in order to renew their teaching certificate that they acquire the seal. And that's is that by 2030?
That's by 2030. By the time, if they renew their license after 2030, they will have to have a seal of literacy in which to renew that license.
So if I still have my teaching license, and I was going to go through renewal, I would have to have that. Someone spoke about, in-service and hours that you're needed to renew. I mean, that varies depending on what your level of education is and how long you've been teaching. But after 2030, I would have to have this in order to renew my certificate.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Senator Alley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One other question, and I didn't see that on a breakdown, but I thought I heard you say paras were included in the training.
That is correct. Yes,
Do we give them a stipend also?
there's a small stipend for paras as well, yes.
If I look at what you're requesting for stipend for, is that 26? Yeah, 26. That stipend is $1 million. And 2,000 teachers, that's $500 for that. Does that include the paras in that $1 million? I didn't get to look at it. I just found it.
I'm sorry, Senator, I don't have that in front of me, I think.
Do we know about how many paras you train?
How many we've trained so far?
And are you planning that you're planning on training?
I don't have the number in front of me, but I can get that for you.
Other questions? Seeing that, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you being here. So this wouldn't be new money. This would be, funding that we did last year as far as increasing the, it's not a new reappropriation. It'd be a lower amount than last year as far as the amount would go. Senator Alley?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to propose that we go ahead and fund 27 for $5 million for Blueprint for Literacy. However, I would also like to see a report out by I'm not sure who it would be from, whether it be, we do get that. I want to make sure that's in the document.
In the bill itself, it requires that. Okay, it's required in the bill.
Did we get one this year?
They're shaking their head.
Okay. Make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
A second.
Senator Fagg, okay. Any other discussion? Senator Petty?
I just want to be clear. So you're talking about this is a motion for $5 million for a Blueprint for Literacy. Is that correct?
Senator Ally.
I thought we already made the one for the reappropriation. This would be $5 million for 27.
She's asking you whether.
5.5?
5 or 5.5. 5.5 is what they were.
Maybe my hearing wasn't good. I thought she said $5 million.
No, I was asking about your motion. Is it, I know it's for 27, and I was asking, is it for 5 or 5.5?
I made the motion for 5.
And I second that.
Okay. Senator Petty?
I appreciate that my fellow legislators are looking at the importance of funding the Blueprint for Literacy. I do feel that the 5 million is, when we look at the legislation under Senate Bill 438, that the 5 million doesn't really make sure that we're moving towards the goal that we want to have all of our teachers trained and paraprofessionals, so that we will see a increase, improvement among our students, and that's the goal. I know throughout all of Kansas to have every child reading by the age of 3rd grade. I think it's important to keep in mind what the goal is. I think I'm glad to see that we're recommending 5 million. I do really think that 5.5 is actually the minimum amount to go after this this outcome. I really think 8.6 is necessary, and so does the director of the Blueprint for Literacy as well. And it is legislation that we voted for and that we put in place in '24. So I just would like to see us go further.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee, I think that is all we had to report. Senator Petty.
So, Mr. Chairman, when I look at the notes that I have, we did not, I believe we did not put any funding in 27 with the regions for the student success initiatives. We did it, so I'm asking that question, is it in there? Yeah. So we only put in for the 2-year colleges, the appropriation, but we didn't put anything in for our state universities in Washburn, which was a 10.5 million. Oh. That was a typo. Oh, is it? It's 5.8, sorry.
And when you fixed the community college, we didn't get these two. That was in last year.
I do believe since we found it, which I totally agree with, found it important to make those recommendations for our 2-year colleges, that we should be doing the same thing for our state universities in Washburn.
I think we thought we did that, but yeah,
We did not.
okay.
That's included.
No, we have to make a motion to add that 5 million back in.
5.8. 5.8.
Yeah.
Patty will make that motion, or?
I'll make a
Senator
motion.
Petty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we add in the 5.8 for student success initiatives for state universities and Washburn.
A motion second by Senator Fagg. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Committee, look at your papers and make sure we didn't miss anything else. enhancement. So the other two items, or three items, were Wichita State and on the enhancement, and K-State and KU. And Wichita State had said that they didn't need theirs if we did the sunset, which Senator Alley did last week on the motion. So what we're left with is the two enhancements, one with Kansas University, which is a Center for Energy Production, $5 million. The agency stated funding would create a Kansas Center for Energy Production, which would develop, maintain an outlook for energy in Kansas, the objective and independent analysis of the state energy potential, identify energy development and utilization pathways with the greatest economic impact for people and industry using scenario analysis, and cultivate partnerships with the Departments of Defense and Energy as well as industry partners to attract hundreds of millions of dollars to Kansas to support energy development and technology integration. Kansas State Nuclear Research Accelerator, $5 million. The agency requests ongoing funding to develop state-of-the-art facilities for lab-based courses and nuclear energy research supporting KSU's nuclear engineering goal to be one of the top 15 programs in the country by 2030. The program would collaborate with Kansas-based nuclear sector employers to provide hands-on learning opportunities for bachelor's degree students and non-traditional certificate seekers. The funding would support cluster hiring of the 12 research and teaching faculty, support staff, and faculty and infrastructure needs. And as I mentioned, the Wichita State, with the sunset on that other program, they said they didn't need theirs, so. Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, both of those I would be in favor of. Energy is such a big deal for Kansas right now. You know, Senator Moran's working on a deal where we got some money out of that. Private industry, I think, is around that. So this is probably the right thing to do at the right time on both of them. It's a big issue. And then KU doing their part with that, I would support both of those.
Okay, we have a motion by Senator Fagg. Second, Senator Alley. Senator Petty has a question.
I just want to confirm, we're talking about 10 million. That was 5 million.
Right.
I'll just add before we vote, I actually have a grandson who's in the nuclear program at K-State and will be graduating this year with a degree in nuclear engineering.
Good. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, committee, thank you. That concludes our work for today. So we are adjourned.